The Eagles are rewarding Saquon Barklet for his historic season with a 2-year, $41.2 million contract extension. That makes him the highest paid running in history. Sources told our Adam Schefter on Tuesday the deal, which includes $36 million guaranteed at signing, makes Barklet the NFL's first running back getting more than $20 million a year. I couldn't be happier for him. What a year it was for Saquon. Barklet joined Terrell Davis in '98 as the only players in NFL history to win a rushing title, Offensive Player of the Year award, and Super Bowl title in the season. And look who has arrived. Kimberly, I haven't seen you in a million years. Lewis, great to see you as well. How we doing, guys? How was the combine?
It was great.
A lot of steak dinners and then a lot of, what's that spot that everyone goes to?
At one block radius.
What is it?
You know what?
St. Elmo's. St. Elmo's. That's that one spot. Yep.
I'll tell you, it's just always so cold in that dome, though.
Yes.
Where you watch the workouts.
Okay. You sound like Stephen A.
I'm soft.
All right.
I admit it.
Call it soft. This is comfort matters. Comfort matters, bro.
Okay. I like being uncomfortable. It helps me to grow.
I'm sure you.
Lewis, do you like this move? Or I tell myself that. Do you like this move from Philly?
Yeah, I do, Molly. I love it simply because of this. Look, number one, I love it because of what it's going to do for other running backs. And I love it what it does as far as kind of advancing the conversation about running backs and what their value really is to football.
Yeah.
And I think what this really is, what this conversation is, in terms of like the whole running back discussion, is this is an emphasis on, or rather the emphasis that the NFL puts on explosive plays. That's really what teams are after. Okay, every offensive coordinator starts every week with how can we create explosives? Plus 10 in the running game, plus 20 in the passing game. Saquon carried this team for a large stretch of this football season because they couldn't create explosives in the passing game. And many people thought that Philadelphia wouldn't be able to make it to the Super Bowl because they weren't able to generate explosive plays in the passing game. Well, he did it. Look, he had 7 touchdowns of 60 yards this season. No other player had more than 4. That includes all positions. So when you are able to produce at that kind of clip, of course you're going to have a record-setting contract probably given to you because you've earned it. And that's exactly why, like, when we get to the draft and you start thinking about where does Ashton Genty actually wind up going, how high does he actually wind up going, think about what this young man did. 29 TDs, and they were an average distance of 28 yards. That's what the league is after. That's why it's nice to see Saquon kind of spark this conversation again, and why now every running back who has those kind of qualities is going to be drafted much higher than what people traditionally think that they should be drafted. And that's all because that's how the league goes, though, right? It's all very cyclical. When this kind of thing happens, it makes everybody kind of reevaluate how you build football teams and how you value positions. Saquon has done that now single-handedly, and he's been rewarded with the contract that really represents that.
Yeah. To answer your question, Molly, I think it's great. I think we all agree it's been great to see Saquon get the money now. I don't know if this will change the conversation around running backs. I hope it does, because even Jahmyr Gibbs being drafted as high as he was by the Lions, a lot of people were like, what is Brad Holmes doing? They don't need him. I understand it's a copycat league, but to me, Saquon, I don't know if the Giants even look back and think, yeah, we made a mistake there. I don't think Joe Shane is sitting there. I think he's saying he couldn't have done that for us, so we made the right call. I don't know, because Saquon is a unique, special talent. And I don't know if teams will look at it and say Saquon is an outlier. He is different. That worked for the Eagles because they had the roster, they had the line, they had the roster that where he fit into that puzzle. He took them the distance. I don't know if other teams are going to look at the other running backs and say, you know what? All running backs deserve to be paid at a higher rate. I don't know if that's true.
But do you think that it's going to kind of change their mind a little bit, just from the simple standpoint of what a difference maker he was for Philly in terms of pushing them over the edge? Would they have won a Super Bowl if they hadn't acquired Saquon Barklet? I think so.
He should. I think he should change the conversation. I am not convinced, having watched NFL GMs operate, I'm not sure if this situation will change it.
That's fair, but I think the important thing to point out is that it's really not about whether he changes the conversation, because everybody ain't Saquon. Everybody ain't rushing for 2,005 yards. Everybody don't have 378 touches, which was first in the league, 2,283 yards from scrimmage, which was first in the league, 5.8 yards per carry, which was second in the league behind Derrick Henry. Everybody can't do that. But here's a bigger point for me personally. The Eagles are the gold standard. It's not because they're the reigning defending Super Bowl champions now. It's not just because of that. It's because they did the right thing by somebody who did right by them.
Yeah.
Along the way, we've been talking for years about the NFL being the NFL. And they run the show. You got a hard cap. You got to restructure deals. They can sign you to a contract. They can come to you for a pay cut. They can restructure deals and all of this other stuff. And it's not very player friendly. And the crime when it came to running backs is that it didn't matter how much you produced. Remember when the Dallas Cowboys gave DeMarco Murray 392 carries? Remember that? And then they threw him out the door like with the bath water.
Yep.
Like it was nothing, okay? Because they said, we're looking at the workload we gave you, we're looking at your birth certificate and the dust it has collected, and that's all we need. We don't give a damn how you looked and what level of production you provided. The Eagles didn't do that.
Yeah.
The Eagles said, yo, this brother's special, but he produced.
Yeah.
And what we're going to do is we're going to make sure we still believe in him. So they didn't do it out of that. It's not like they don't believe in him.
Right.
They still believe in him. But they also said, we're not going to hold conventional football wisdom against him. We're going to do what's right. And I think this is a big, big, big deal because other NFL teams now have to think about player treatment in terms of dudes who produce for you.
Yeah.
Supposed to take care of them.
Yeah, I think it's equal parts, Stephen A. I think it's one. I think it does come into, your mode of thinking about doing right by players.
Yes.
I don't think you can let that be the lead, though, simply because contracts are supposed to represent future performance projection, right? So they obviously still feel as though he has a lot of mileage left.
Yeah.
Well, all I'm saying, though, Kimberly, is this. I'm not saying it's going to change the conversation around all running backs. I'm saying running backs who have unique skill sets like this, like Jameer, like Christian, like Ashton when he comes into the league. I don't think you're going to automatically push them down the board simply because you say there's just too much value in running back. So you know what? We don't need to move up and get a guy like this, especially if you see a guy like Jameer, right? How many teams right now wish they would have had a crack at Jameer Gibbs?
Fair.
You know what I'm saying? I'm saying those guys with unique skill sets aren't going to be put in the same box as everyone else. And Saquon has made people kind of start thinking that way. If we find one like this, go get him.
So here's what's interesting about the Saquon situation. I think with the Eagles, you had the team figured out. You had the pieces.
Yeah, that's true.
Whereas Howie Roseman could say, you know what would take us over the top? That guy. A team that is now trying to build. It's the old Dave Gettleman situation of like, we might not have the infrastructure, we not have all the right pieces, but a special talent. Is he worth it? Maybe that does change the conversation. Another name to bring up, Derrick Henry. In my mind, he's woefully underpaid by Baltimore. Different skill set, but will Baltimore look at him?
Mình làm thành vòng tay thì nó sẽ là cái dạng vòng ôm sát vào tay như thế này. Đấy. Mình sẽ móc tiếp những mũi tiếp theo nha mọi người. Bây giờ móc tiếp vào nha mọi người. Mình móc một mũi vào này. Sau đó sẽ móc vào đây những cái mũi nửa kép. Mình móc một mũi nửa kép này. Đấy, mình sẽ móc vào đây. Cứ một mũi vào một chân nhé. Đấy, móc lần lượt cho đến hết cái hàng này nhé mọi người. Rồi bây giờ móc tiếp này. Cứ lần lượt từng mũi cho đến hết. Mình tiếp tục mình móc vào nhé. Đều là những cái mũi nửa kép. Rồi móc mũi tiếp theo. Đấy. Cứ luân phiên như này là được.